Hi there, this is Bridget from the Planner Speechie. Welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be planning for the week of March 31st through April 6th in my CaressPress inserts. I did film a base laydown and talk through video, but I can't find it anymore. I don't know what happened to it. I may have accidentally deleted it when I was trying to save space. So I'm just going to sort of talk through very briefly what I did, and then I'm going to get into the day by day. So this kit is from CaressPress. It was called Stormy Nights. The art came out last year. I think it was a mystery kit initially, and then she reformatted it. It's got kind of a stormy theme to it, so I chose a lot of really sort of cozy vibes. And then I used a bundle from Planner, and I used this silver hollow waves, which is a really cool foil because it almost gives off like a mother of pearl quality. So I definitely recommend. I wanted something that like kind of looked like water, but I think this actually would be really nice if you're doing like an iridescent pearl. So I thought that would be pretty. I did dark solid navy underlays, and then this bundle, I think it's just called Rain. I'll link the whole thing down below so you can see it. But I did get the extra washi strip. So this did not come with the kit, this like dark rain pattern. And then I moved what was left of that here. I can show you, I did get extra boxes for Stormy Nights. I used that one right there. This is sort of what I had left over because I cut the washi in half. I did not use the date covers yet because, to be honest, when I laid this down, I intended it to be for a different week, but then I had a procedure, and so I ended up using two different kits for that week instead. So actually the back of this is a base laydown that I did a while back. So I can show you just sort of what's left of the kit that I haven't used yet. Really like this wood grain pattern and then the light pattern. And the lightning is really cute. So I think this is the essentials. It's possibly the full, but I think it might be the essentials one. So I am just going to go ahead and lay the date dots down for this. I do have, so I had a custom Planner script, and then these are the date dots. And I'm trying to decide if I want to use these or these. I feel like these are easier to see, but I'm gonna use the foil. All right, so this is technically March 31st, so this is really April. And I can stick like an April script on top there. But anyway, so, and the funny thing is, and I'll talk about this in a minute when I go to lay down the day by day. I don't need those right now. So these are the leftover headers. They were raindrops. This was kind of a crazy week because it was the end of our fourth quarter. So we had like teacher work days and early release days embedded in this week. And then it was also, there were some like things that came up within the last week or so, not week or so, days or so, where I sort of changed all my plans. And then on Sunday, I was so tired that I didn't actually film this Plan With Me laydown. So I'm actually filming this a week later. So hopefully I can remember everything that I like wrote down and the way I wanted to do it. But so there you go. I think it's going to come out really nice. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and zoom in and we're going to get into the day by day. Okay. Hey everybody. So I decided to re-record this as a voiceover because about, I think maybe a minute after I started recording this, I got really tired and I just couldn't do it. And then after I finished filming this, I ended up going to take a nap in the middle of the day, which I never ever do. So I was really out of it. You can kind of tell from my my demeanor in the intro. So I'm sorry about that. I was really exhausted and I wanted to film it and I wanted to lay everything down because this was a weird week. For this particular week, I didn't have my bullet journal with me. So I ended up having to go back, rewrite everything down in a different planner it was like a blank planner that I made, and then transfer it again later. So this was kind of just, I don't know if it was me recovering from the procedure, if it was just I was depressed. I don't know exactly what this was, but it was an off week for me. So I'm going to re-record everything now just to make it a little bit smoother. But anyway, so March 31st was actually payday. I thought I was going to be paid on the last Friday of the month, but I think they switched it in my calendar of financing. So we got paid on this Monday, which was unusual. This was a teacher work day. So I mark using I have these stickers from a colorway of the day from Pink Diamond Planner Co. And they're kind of in a light blue. And you'll see me use those a lot for this particular spread. It matches the blue that you'll see featured on Tuesday, really, but essentially I slept in. So I use these little slippers. I don't have these slippers. I know this was like a very popular thing a while ago. Everybody had these little slippers and they're cute, but like I don't have them in real life. So it's funny because I didn't mark that it was a teacher work day, but I did mark that it was a day off. And I used a printer icon from the foil bundle because I spent this whole day working on progress reports and completing outdated session notes. So here's a fun little tidbit for the speech therapists listening. We have to do session notes for every single student for every single session. Whether we see 3 or 4 kids in one group, each student gets their own note. And then on a quarterly basis, they have a progress report that's kind of like a report card that's sent home to the parents, explaining where they are in their goals, what the data is that we've collected thus far, and all of that. So I ended up just spending my entire teacher work day doing the majority of that. And this is why we have these teacher work days at the end of quarters. So if you're a parent and you're like, why do we have so many days off that are just so random? It's so teachers have an opportunity to get their work completed. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes of teaching and working in a school, and we just need a little bit of time to get all of that stuff done. It's also the final quarter of the year is very challenging because you have to wrap up things that you would normally have had a couple of extra weeks to do, and you have to do all of it in the span of the end of the year, which includes testing and transition meetings, all these extra things that you don't do at any other point of the year. It's exhausting, so we definitely need the time. I'm just going to pause this for 1 second. Sorry, I had to speed this up, you guys, because I didn't feel like talking for a solid half hour. So this sticker was from Sweet Ava's paper. It's a very cute little sticker, and that progress reports script is from Carly Plans. I was going to use him throughout for speech therapy, but the sticker was just too big and I wasn't going to have room. I did have a teletherapy appointment at 11, and I actually did that therapy appointment while I was at work, but I was so depressed afterwards that I just could not focus. So I ended up going home and completing my session notes at home. Tuesday was April Fool's Day, which normally I really lean into this as a speech therapist. There's so much really fun stuff you can do for April Fools. There's all these different activities. You teach kids about what's a joke, what's not. It's a good humor, social pragmatic day to work on things. And I just was so tired. I just did not lean into it today. But I did hear from my doctor, and that was really good. So I skipped over that, but I'm going to put in like a grateful sticker up there. I used the decal from the foil bundle to mark speech therapy. And the scripts in this foil, I should have chosen a different font style, I think, because they're kind of hard to read. But the foil itself is really pretty. That is a colorway of the month from Carly Plans. The laptop stickers are in this March colorway of the month, which is sort of like a blue-green. So those are going to be spread throughout the week. So I basically worked on progress reports every single day this week. I did call my mom after work and just sort of got into it with her a little bit, which was not fun. But then after dinner, we watched Silicon Valley on HBO Max, and I just used a little TV time from the script to mark that. And then while we were watching Silicon Valley, I just worked really, really late, and I was doing more progress reports. So I used this really fun sticker from Stick with the Plan Co. to mark that I was working late. And I just used the work script from the foil bundle. Then on Wednesday, I watch TV in the morning before I go to work. It sort of helps me wake up. And I've been watching The Residents. This was a really great new show that Shonda Rhimes put out. It has Only Murders in the Building vibes, and I basically watched it every day this week. So that was kind of fun. I did do speech therapy on Wednesday. I do most of my therapy on Wednesdays first thing in the morning, and then the rest of the day is really for IP meetings and evaluations and observations and everything else. I did have a teacher, it was an early release day this day, so I went to McDonald's and got some fast food, and then I had to drive to a different location for my professional development, and this was a class on autism and AAC, and so that was really helpful. And then after that, I drove back to my neighborhood, and I took my neighbor out for a ride to Trader Joe's because she hadn't been to the one that was close to our neighborhood, and it was really fun. I spent way too much money, but I loved going with her. It just made the experience so much more enjoyable. And then I came home, had dinner, and watched Silicon Valley. So then on Thursday, which was the 3rd, I did speech therapy right at the top. I used a little cloud sticker to mark that. I did have to do a speech language eval, and I used a little book to mark that because I was doing a lot of standardized testing with this student. And then after I completed that, I did some progress reports in the school. I did have a meeting this day that I didn't mark, but we always have these meetings. And I really love that wood grain pattern. It just looks so cute. So then I came home and I watched The Residents again. And I did make dinner. I can't remember what I made. I think it was a salmon. I made a salmon fillet, or no, it might have been a chicken shawarma. It was a chicken shawarma, and then I did Israeli couscous with avocado and heirloom tomatoes, and it was delicious. And then we spent the evening watching Silicon Valley. This was a rewatch for us. We've already seen Silicon Valley, but after work, my husband has been doing a lot of work on the couch for his job, and so it's nice to have kind of a show that you've already seen on in the background. I do a lot of TV rewatching. So then on Friday, I just marked with a raindrop that I did speech therapy. The majority of my Fridays is always a ton of speech therapy. I don't know how this happened in my schedule. What I like to do is do the majority of my therapy Monday through Thursday and then have Friday as more of a catch-up day. But somehow this year my schedule inverted itself, and I don't really know how that happened. But I did have to finish the speech eval that I started the day before because I didn't want to put this kid through the ringer, and I wanted to give him some time. I did have to do more progress reports, and I just marked with a little burnt out emoji because I was just so tired of doing them. I did have a call with my doctor about another procedure that I have to have at the end of April. And this was just sort of a rundown of what I'm supposed to do to prepare for this procedure. For this one, I'm going to be out for much longer. It's happening in a different clinic, and I have to like use special soap, and I can't take certain medications for 2 weeks, and it's a whole thing. So I was glad I was able to have that call. And then on Friday, I actually went to, what did we do on Friday? Was this the day where I had some wine and we had some dinner and I just hung out with Frank, my husband. I should not have had as much wine as I did. I think I drank nearly an entire bottle all by myself. So obviously I slept like shit all through Saturday. So I wasn't feeling great on Saturday. This was not a good idea. I should have been more careful. So I did mark that I made avocado toast. Man, that script is hard to read. And then I quickly took a shower and I used a little underwear icon from the bundle. And then we were doing a book crawl with my neighborhood book club because the Charlotte area has this thing set up right now where if you get a stamp from all these different bookstores, you can enter to win a grand prize of $20 from each of the stores. So we ended up going to this little place for brunch right near the first store, and I had avocado toast at home with my husband, so I didn't have brunch, but I did get a nice coffee. I drank way too much caffeine this day. So the alcohol plus the caffeine meant I was just rotten on the 6th, but we went to 4 different bookstores in different parts of northern Charlotte and near our neighborhood, which was really, really fun. The stores were Fred and June's, Main Street Books, Goldberry Books, and Editions. Editions and Fred and June's were my favorite books of the day, and I did drop a little bit of money, not as much as I thought I was going to. I bought Horror Store by Grady Hendrix. I bought Ulysses by James Joyce and a little annotation kit. And then the second to last bookstore was at a Mac Tabby Cat Cafe, so we did end up going there. And then in the evening, we went to our neighbor's house because they were watching the Final Four, and my husband and I went, and we were there until about midnight, so I was pretty wiped. But it was such a fun night. Like I was socially like zapped, but I was so, it was a great night. So on Sunday, I just marked that we relaxed. That's the Beautiful Mess Plans Co. I did make French press, and we had pancakes. And then I think I marked that I did some laundry. I watched The Residence. I think I finished The Residence this day. The killer was not who I thought it was, which was kind of a nice twist. I did film this Plan With Me, although, and I did do some reading. But I gotta tell you, I think everything else that happened that I meant to do didn't really get done. I did vacuum, I did clean the kitchen, but I was exhausted, and this was the day that I just went and took a nap, and I was just so out of it. So I put everything together really tightly squeezed, which was kind of sad. I feel like all of the underlays disappeared completely. But overall, this was a crazy week, and I'm just really grateful and glad that I got to spend all this time with my friends and got to do a lot of fun things. Work was tough, but that's life. So this was a really great week, and I'm really glad that I'm getting to do all these incredible things with my neighbors. It's so hard to make friends in your 30s, and I feel like we got really lucky. So anyway, I'm going to zoom out in just a second so you can see the full spread. Okay, so this is the finished spread. Not spread. Oh my goodness. I think this came out really well. I wish I hadn't had to cover up so much of the underlays because I think they're really beautiful, but you can see it more over here. I did have to write a few things in, but overall it looks pretty cohesive. I'm very proud of it. So Thank you so much for watching, and please stay tuned for more Plan With Me videos. Thank you so much. Take care.